A Rolex will never make her like you. Designer clothing will never make her like you. Bragging about any sort of an achievement, or even worse, an object, will never make her like you. The more you're trying to impress her, the less impressed she'll be. Ask yourself, is there any person that you know, man or woman in this world, that you genuinely respect or like or even love because they wear designer clothing or because they have a fancy watch or they drive some sort of a car? You don't. You can impress other men with that. Maybe they'll find it interesting and you can have a little bit of a competition. Nobody respects you because of it. It's fun. And we as men like these things because why not? We reward ourselves. But I have actually seen it so often over the years with clients from all around the world, business owners, successful professionals, that they brag. Chances are, if you've achieved anything in your life, you tend to brag and you don't even realize it. And again, it doesn't make you a bad person. You're not a bad person because of it. We're doing $100 million raise. I did this. We did this. Trying to show off. And there's nothing wrong with wearing a watch. There's nothing wrong with wearing designer clothes if you like it. There's nothing wrong with driving a fancy car or having a big house. But the amount of times I've seen clients show women around their house to show off, and it's so evident, or them verbatimly bragging is hilarious. And these are good, kind people, often family fathers in their 40s or 50s, managing directors, business owners, good people, kind people, the kinds of people you would love to have as a friend or as a father or just in your life. But they tend to brag, and if you do that, it turns her off. Because remember, she is evaluating you based on certain status indicators, and remember, the kind of man she's going after is a man with options. And the more you're trying to impress her, and bragging is one manifestation thereof, the less impressed she'll be. And it just doesn't add to your own sense of freedom of expression either. The more free you can be in your expression, the more self-validating you can be, the more attracted she'll be to you. Because let me tell you something, the kinds of women who actually recognize the brands of certain watches, not all women, I'm not saying that, but look, Fernanda's family, they don't recognize the brands of watches. I show it to her mom, I show it to her sister, we talk about certain things, right? It's fun. They don't know that. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's amazing. They're like, oh, cool, looks nice, great. They don't know these things. And I think it's awesome. They don't know car brands, they don't know design. They know it a little bit, but they're not in it. And wouldn't you like to be with a woman who obviously appreciates the nice and finer things in life? Like, I'm the fancy bee in the relationship with Fernanda. I like nice things. But I also like hiking. I also like nature. I also like martial arts. Would you not like to be with a woman who can enjoy the finer things in life, but who doesn't have an issue going camping? Fernanda is equally happy when we go and get ice cream for €4.50, or we spend 4K over 5 days in Spain, right? It makes no difference to her. No, not that it doesn't make a difference, but genuinely for her happiness, it makes almost no difference. And you want to be with a person like that. Remember, you don't just attract what you want, you attract what you are. Do you want depth and realness and authenticity? Then it doesn't mean that you can't have toys, fun toys. Of course you can do that. It's fun. But is that how you identify yourself? Is that what you put forth as the primary characteristic, as your USP, your unique selling point, if you will? It's not. What I would encourage you to do is actually write a list. Write a list of 20 reasons as to why, oh, my calves are hurting. I don't know, I just put my calves in a position. Oof, they usually never hurt. I mean, they're really the only big part of my body. I say that jokingly, but they're actually quite big, genetically. Talk about bragging, no, it actually is like that. And it's so funny because I can't tell this. I'll tell you the story. Apply for a free call during the coaching program and I'll tell you the story in detail. But to not politically correct to share it here, I don't even know where I was going. Point being, listen, you want to identify yourself as being somebody. Oh yeah, the 20 reasons. Write a list of 20 reasons as to why it would be the greatest gift on earth for the right woman to be a girlfriend or wife. Not egotistically, but what do you actually provide in terms of value? And I'm not talking monetarily here, even though that can be 1 out of 20 reasons. Are you kind? Are you caring? Are you intelligent? Are you able to be fully present? Are you a good cook? Are you good in bed? Will you provide her with presence and kindness and compassionate and with compassion rather? Are you going to look out for her family? These are all very intangible yet tangible benefits. They have real merit and so real utility. And I would encourage you to, one, revisit how you identify yourself and how you want to come across, and understand that there's not a single person in the world that you actually like or respect because of outward status indicators. And the other point is, how free in your expression do you want to be? Do you want to be constantly worried about how people come across? If I was worried all the time how you'd perceive me, and trust me, I've gone through that phase, then I'd be extremely stifled. Now, I have a lot of experience in front of the camera. I've done thousands of these videos, so it's easy for me at this stage. If you were to look at videos from 11 years ago, cringe as hell. I cringe when I look at them. And I've gone through a phase of finding my voice. And finding your voice, not just in front of a camera, but with women, with people in general, refining how you express yourself, being free in your expression, enjoying it. That's a beautiful journey. And if you want to be effective in your communication, then you actually have to enjoy the very act of speaking itself. Even if you may be more introverted, you are going to communicate with fellow members of your species, male and female, so you might as well be good at it, so you might as well enjoy it. And you'll enjoy it more if you don't care what the wrong people think of you, and you self-validate. So you emphasize self-amusement. Do I tell the joke to get a good reaction, or because I genuinely think it's funny? You want to be calibrated. Obviously, you want to be calibrated and respectful and not do things that are so far outside of the realm of what's socially acceptable that large parts of society would want to kick you out, so you wouldn't be a functioning member of society anymore. You don't want to go to that extreme, but if you imagine a scale of ridiculously free in your expression where you take a dump in the middle of Whole Foods and so constricted that you can barely leave the house. Well, imagine that. Maybe just move towards the Whole Foods direction a little bit. Not going all the way over there, but can you become a little bit more free? Can you say the things you actually want to say? I had a conversation with a client yesterday. His family, they work in real estate. He's in the US. And he was saying we were talking about how he doesn't like to go to family occasions, sometimes, of the women he's dating now, or the one he's going to get to know. He always felt uncomfortable around that. And in business, very confident, very competent. And in those social occasions, no problem with that whatsoever. No problem with those social skills at all. But with those family occasions, he almost avoided them. And then I told him, well, one, you don't have to do what you don't want to do. You can do whatever the F you want to do, as long as you're respectful and kind and a good person. You can do whatever you want to do. You can go or not go. With my ex-wife, I told him, and her parents, I was so afraid of their judgment. It was unbelievable. Obviously, I was respectful and courteous and all of that. But I was so scared of conflict, of disagreeing with them about the most benign subjects. And it led to me being a shell of myself. And so one of the reasons is you may just not want to go, and that's fine. But the other reason, and the real reason, is you feel like you'll have to put on a show. Do you know that feeling of thinking that you have to smile when somebody tells a joke or looks at you and you actually don't feel like smiling? And then you get something called persona fatigue, where you just feel exhausted by the end of a night. Now, part of that is because we just get tired and things take energy. But if it's too much, it's because you're putting on a front and you can't let go. You're holding on. You're tense the entire time instead of just letting go. The more you can just you're physically tense and you're not even realizing it. If you just do this with me, if you're not driving, just tense your muscles. Tense them. Oh, and just let go. You feel that? That's the difference between you being tense, metaphorically speaking, as a tiny little exercise here, and you being relaxed. And I can feel a tiny difference in my voice. My voice got 20% deeper right now. Not because I'm trying to put it on or anything. People are trying to put on a fake deep voice. That's cringe as hell, don't do that. But because the muscles relaxed as a result of it. And what I was telling my client is, be free in your expression. Yes, be kind. Yes, care about the lady's parents, Sarah, for example. Let's call it caring about making a good first impression with Sarah's parents, but just worry about being a good person. If you're just a good person, then it doesn't matter whether you agree with her on politics or religion. You don't need to bring up any controversial subject. You don't need to, let's say you go on a family occasion at somebody's birthday party and she wants to have you there. You don't need to make it your party. You don't need to be that overly selfish and self-centered. But do speak your truth. Smile only when you want to smile. You can be very respectful and express yourself very freely. And when you give yourself that permission to not put on a show, to say what you want to say if asked, you might find that you start enjoying those social occasions a lot more because you're free and you're not so worried about what Christopher thinks about you. If your name is Christopher, I apologize. Don't judge, Christopher. Don't judge. If you let go of your desperate need for approval and validation, not 100%, but maybe 80, 90, 70, 20, 30%, largely, you will find yourself much more at home in this world, my friend, and you'll be much more effective in your communication with women, and you will have more energy afterwards. You might find that social interactions actually start energizing you. I'm an introvert, therefore social interactions don't energize me. Nonsense. The only scientifically documented difference, from what I've understood from a bro-sciencey perspective from Andrew Huberman, between extroverts and introverts, is the fact that introverts get more dopamine from social interactions than extroverts, and therefore they are satiated quicker and they need less, but everybody still needs it. And whether you're exhausted by the end of it or not, yeah, there is a quantity component to it for sure, but maybe it's also you just being tense and not letting go and letting your raw, radically honest self out. You do that, you'll feel energy by the end of it. Mark my words. And you'll be much more attractive. And then you won't need little gadgets or toys to impress her because that only attracts the wrong women anyway. And so, if you are a man with a successful career or your own business, you're an achiever, you're somebody who takes action, and you would like me to help you personally find the right girlfriend or wife, click the link below and apply for a free initial consultation. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.